Superstar.Shaq recently expressed his opinion about Victor Wembanyama, suggesting that he is overhyped. During a live TV broadcast, Charles Barkley also listed all of Wembanyama's weaknesses. So guys, join us as we take a look at what these NBA players and superstars have to say about Victor Wembanyama and why he's not worth the hype. Shaq, who knows a lot about evaluating big men in the NBA, gave his opinions on Wembanyama when asked about the young player. It's surprising because Shaq doesn't think Victor is strong enough to handle the challenges of the league. Shaq thinks that even though Wembanyama has a lot of hype, he doesn't have enough muscle to support it. Basketball is a physical game, and even one hard collision could ruin his career. If Wembanyama wants to be successful and become a star, he needs to work on getting stronger. Shaq mentioned that players like LeBron James don't look fragile. Shaq also said that besides his cool dunks and jump shots, Wembanyama hasn't shown much else. Although those moves look great, if he wants to regularly score more than 10 points in the NBA, he needs to get better at playing near the basket. It can be argued that in today's game, post play is the most crucial aspect of a player's skills, which raises an important question. Will this have a significant impact on his performance in the NBA? I mean, the game is not as physically demanding as it used to be in the 80s or 90s. However, that doesn't mean Wembanyama can skip the gym. He needs to put in the work because, at the moment, it seems like even a slight breeze could knock him down. If he wants a chance to be considered one of the greatest, he must focus on improving his inside game. While three-pointers and dunks are impressive, in a real game, he won't always have the same opportunities. He needs to learn how to navigate both aspects of post-play and have enough strength to defend against opponents when necessary. It's similar to what Charles Barkley said when asked about Wembanyama. Barkley mentioned that he anticipates Wembanyama to face challenges in his first few years in the league. Even players like Kobe and Kevin Garnett had difficult rookie seasons, so honestly, Wembanyama shouldn't worry too much. If things go well and he remains receptive to advice from experienced big men who played in the league, he should receive enough helpful guidance to smoothly transition to the higher level of competition. With that being said, let's examine how he will fare in the upcoming draft. In case you're wondering, well, yes, Victor Wembanyama is still the best player among the new generations. However, before entering the NBA, players must undergo one final test in the form of the NBA draft. Wembanyama has officially declared himself eligible for the 2023 draft, which is just a few weeks away. In recent mock drafts, Wembanyama has consistently been projected as the #1 overall pick, and rightfully so. He currently leads the G League in nearly every statistical category, which is an impressive feat. If he continues his outstanding performance, he may even win the MVP award. With such remarkable numbers being posted regularly, it's no surprise that he's favored to be the top pick in the NBA draft. As of now, the Houston Rockets, Detroit Pistons, and San Antonio Spurs have the best odds of landing Wembanyama on their teams, each with a 14% chance. As the draft night approaches, the excitement and anticipation continue to build. Wembanyama himself expressed his enthusiasm about playing in the NBA, describing it as a lifelong dream come true. However, despite his impressive recent performances, there remains the question of whether his achievements truly justify being selected as the #1 overall pick. I must say he has been nothing short of amazing. Scouts and analysts have been effusive in their praise for this prospect, as he consistently delivers outstanding performances. He effortlessly averages double-digit points per game, a remarkable accomplishment that he makes seem effortless. Furthermore, Wembanyama has consistently secured 10 or more rebounds in every game he has played this season. No matter how you analyze it, he has been performing at a higher level than many current NBA players. However, there are noticeable concerns when it comes to physicality. Wembanyama tends to shy away from physical confrontations altogether. This reluctance is perhaps the only factor preventing him from surpassing the 30-point mark. Regardless of how you assess the situation, it becomes evident that he cannot dominate the NBA solely by draining three-pointers and dunking. He must exhibit a much broader skill set to meet the lofty expectations set for him. In my opinion, hitting the gym and honing his post-game should be his primary focus. As mentioned earlier, if he can shoot proficiently with both hands like Ko and overpowered defenders like Shaq, he will become an unstoppable force. Which brings us to our next question, which is Wembanyama as good as the hype surrounding him? Well, we have seen his statistics and gathered opinions from top NBA commentators. However, it is important to recognize that all the hype surrounding Wembanyama is merely speculation. We cannot truly determine how good he will be in the NBA until he has spent a season playing here. With draft night approaching, teams will undoubtedly be eager to acquire the Frenchman. Judging by his current numbers, it is reasonable to expect him to perform well in the NBA. While he may not reach the level of LeBron James in his prime, he is likely to outshine most of the other rookies in his class. Of course, there is always a chance that another prospect, such as Scoot Henderson, could surpass him in the final stretch. The true evaluation will only come once these players are drafted into NBA teams. In my opinion, Wembanyama has more potential as a prospect compared to players like Ben Simmons. However, there remains a small possibility that he could disappoint and turn out to be a bust. If that were to happen, it would be an occasion where Charles Barkley could have the last laugh, as he often finds himself in need of one. While the French prospect may currently be subject to excessive hype, it is reasonable to believe that he will eventually develop into a great player. We shouldn't be overly concerned about his performance. All he needs is a capable coach and some guidance. We might be witnessing the rise of a new basketball star. However, before we crown him as the king, let's consider the criticisms coming from other NBA players spearheaded by Charles Barkley. Barkley, while not Wembanyama's biggest fan, did express his hopes for the young prospect's success. Nevertheless, we cannot dismiss the criticisms he has directed at Wembanyama. Barkley has amplified Shaq's remarks by an additional 50%. It does make sense when you think about it. Barkley comes from an era when physicality reigned supreme on the basketball court. From his perspective, Wembanyama might struggle to survive in the NBA. However, I believe Barkley might be exaggerating the emphasis on hitting the gym. Wembanyama may not be thick, but he is not as frail and delicate as Barkley portrays him to be. Barkley further mentioned his doubts about Wembanyama's ability to dominate the NBA shortly, drawing a comparison to Kobe Bryant, who also faced challenges during the early stages of his career. However, we must consider that Wembanyama is playing in a different era, one where players like Kevin Durant dominate the court despite having a lean physique. When we take such factors into account, Wembanyama might not be that bad after all. Alright guys, that wraps up our video for today. We'll love to know what you think about Wembanyama's draft to the NBA, and do you think he'll dominate the NBA? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more.